Hi, I'm Yorn. I'm a new League player and I'm trying to become good enough to be able to play with my friends. Now, originally I was going to play on my main account, but then I realized the same handles as free currency worse than mobile games do. I mean, there are like 150 champions and it apparently costs 503,000 blue essence to buy all of them. Meanwhile, I played like 30 matches, bought 5 characters, and I'm about to be homeless on the Rift. So I decided to make a new account called I Only Know Top Lane. And I don't. I barely even know how to play the game. But with this account, I figured if I dedicate all my blue essence specifically for top laners, then I should be able to buy all the characters I want within a timely manner. Now I want to note that I had a huge issue recording. Long story short, the audio is fucked up, so everything is going to have to be summarized as post commentary instead. So like everyone else who plays this game, I watched some videos about champions I might be interested in, but unfortunately I found myself on the wrong site and ended up picking Tryndamere. I picked him because I figured he's so brain dead I could focus entirely on just learning the game instead of learning the champion. So after some half-assed reading on what he does and a 2-minute guide that honestly could have just been 30 seconds, I threw myself into my first couple of matches just to chill and not really care about what happens. All I wanted to do was just throw his skills around, play with his kit, and get to know how the character works and feels through repetition and throughout the game state. The first match was kind of silly. I went against a Pistol Singed, and while the character himself was boring, honestly the match was pretty fun just as we kind of duked it out like how real new players would. I literally followed him around the shit dust the whole time and he kept trying to box at Tryndamere for some reason, so it was cool. The laning phase helped a lot with getting used to Tryndamere, and for some reason I found it hard to CS, but overall it ended up being just an okay match. So while there was no real lesson here, I did get a lot more comfortable with my character. My second match, I actually didn't get top lane unfortunately, and I ended up playing Pantheon in jungle. Now I'd only played jungle once before and I felt okay with doing it, but that didn't mean I was going to have a comfortable time playing it. As the first issue I had was that I was on the red team instead of the blue team, so I was genuinely confused on where the red buff would be. And I spent the first few minutes of the match just bouncing back and forth, deciding on where I would go. Then I actually used the wrong build that wanted me to take W instead of Q for some reason. And then on the first camp I was dying for some reason, so I popped my smite and heal on it before realizing I didn't buy any items at all. In the original audio when I was basing and I realized all the mistakes that I made, I literally had this primal fucking scream that I did into the mic, and it didn't even get picked up, but anyways, the game actually went really well. Because I'm pretty sure the jungler was more severely lobotomized than I was. I think my lesson here was just that I need to pay attention to my start more. My next match though was very different. It was the last match I would play for the night, and it ended up being one of the biggest slaughters I had been through. I went against a Darius who knows how to play the game. Part of it was lack of knowledge on how strong his level 1 was, part of it was because I didn't take it seriously at all, and part of it was him actually knowing how to play the game, but I pretty much fed all match and my lane was shut down before 10 minutes. Despite my performance, I won, and I believe the lesson here was that the early laning phase really matters, and giving up the lead means how the lane proceeds depends on the enemy laner more than it does yourself, and it can spiral out of control incredibly quickly. New day, new matches, and this one being against a Garen. Now this match ended up being the opposite of the Darius one. I took what I learned before and I had multiple realizations about my character in the last 2 matches I played him in. For one, I don't do well with trading until level 2 or 3 so I can sustain and crit my passive. And for 2, my CS and trading felt awful for some reason, and I realized it was because of a setting I had on that targeted the closest enemy to my champion instead of the closest enemy to my cursor. And for 3, Tryndamere's skill is better with items than he does with levels. So with this, I played a lot safer early on and my laning phase improved significantly. So I was able to acquire items and play my character properly, which ended up with me snowballing the game out. But not before learning another valuable lesson. Hard CC shits on my champion. And if I want to be able to play as a team fighter instead of a split pusher, I need to consider the CC that they have. Then I had a match as Tryndamere versus Fiora, and I thought I would get shit on really hard, but Following what I learned thus far, I was able to find success. I played around my Q and out-sustained her lane, only taking trades while I had my passive up. And even though my lane was ganked a few times, I was able to avoid getting caught and killed, so my laning phase ended up being neutral, and with my items online, picked up a few kills and ended the game. Next, I went against Nilawi, and I was really excited to fight her as I struggled against her on my main, but unfortunately my teammate got auto-filled Warwick bot and tried to force his way top lane, which led to a 2v2 situation and the game just got cucked. Then I had a match where I played against a Malphite as Garen, and I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest. I played Garen because in a previous match against him, I felt really confused on how I should engage with trading, because I felt like his Q was really strong and I thought his E would like do a lot more damage than it actually would. But now I kind of understand his kit and how he trades more, so that's nice, I guess. But this game was a complete stump from Malphite. I didn't feed kills, but I lost a lot of CS and got uber poked all game, and I think most of this comes down to not knowing how to build. His poke was strong early game, and I built cloth armor with T1 boots hoping I could dodge his skill shots and mitigate the damage I take from him as well. But I actually got double fucked not knowing he has no skill shots to dodge, and for some fucking reason, the walking mountain throwing boulders at me is dealing magic damage, not physical. So I realized it's too late, and my build ended up making me get completely shit on. And while my KDA was neutral, the lane and my CS was definitely lost, and so was my game. The lesson here is that I need to learn how to build properly, because even if I recognize that he was dealing magic damage, I still don't even know what items to build in order to counter it. I played a few games as Illaoi as well, to try and learn how to counter her since I was having issues with this matchup before. And I had a good game where I mostly learned how she felt and that her kit was entirely around counterattacking and didn't really have any good engage, but was extremely strong if they all in me. And then I had a bad game where once again I lost a match due to building armor into a Teemo who somehow shot magical darts. The lesson here is the same as before, but at least this time I learned a lot about a character that I struggled with previously. From there on, one of my last matches I played was as Darius, just as I felt I wanted to get a feel for his early game due to how hard I got shit on before, and I ended up going against a Nasus. Now, I don't know his kit, but I do know he's bad early on and scale as well, so I did everything I could to bully the fuck out of this dog. This match ended up with me having one of my best laning phases yet. Unfortunately, I was going against a Yasuo mid who was destroying my entire team and ended the match with 28 kills. I noticed I wasn't strong enough to split push and take inhibs alone, and my teammates also struggled with engaging and getting picks, so I tried to play more as like a frontline engage type of character, but the whole match just felt really weird, and even though we won, I wasn't sure if I made the right call or not. Unfortunately, my last match wasn't even in top lane and the game was half-assed ruined by trolling, so even though we won, it didn't feel like I gained anything of value, so I won't be going through the match. Overall, the games weren't too terrible. I did get some flame from dumb retards with egos, but I understand that's just how League is. Now, I know this video wasn't really good at all, but it took me a month to make it due to procrastination and struggling to speak, and I haven't played League at all since the last match shown here. I want to try and bring in live commentary and show off individual matches so I can upload a lot faster, and maybe do highlights of each week to show my learning progress as well. But it might be really hard for me because talking is just difficult. So here's hoping I can do it. Anyways, thanks for watching if you somehow made it this far through the video, and see you in the next one.